doing? 2 decades is a little long.
Those were some kind words from City Weekly. They posted that, "You've been around for 20 years, having great success."
First record was 2006.
Yes.
Okay. But we've been going for a while.
I'd like to exaggerate to enhance our air of immunity. Invincibility.
20's coming up.
Yeah, exactly.
So, what can we do for you guys? How's everybody doing today? Oh, it's on. Sweet.
So you guys are our first group back in since we've remodeled the radio station, so everything's still kind of like, wait, how does this work again? It's been months since we've had an artist in the studio or on stage too. So
Oh, thanks for having me.
We have to apologize. Josh is feeling under the weather this morning, and we've been in this position before. And if he were to like push through an acoustic performance, he'd probably blow his voice for the tour, and we'd have to like not play. So the best decision for playing the show tonight and to try and get through the rest of these shows is we're gonna just even today to try and not have him do much talking. So if you guys have any questions, we're gonna answer on his behalf. He has to deal with the answers that we give.
Finally get to put words into his mouth.
Exactly. He can sign his, his answers, or perhaps just move his mouth as we speak.
Do you guys have any questions you want to ask us?
Anybody come to the show tonight, by the way? You guys already have tickets and everything.
Yes.
Awesome. Have you seen us before?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who has not seen us before?
What do you guys think of the new record?
Love it.
You don't have to say that. Thanks. We're really proud of it.
What do you think of Mike's shirt? I call him Flash Gordon today.
It's a hard
I
pass.
didn't get it until I looked at it. It has lightning bolts. Huh. They do look fast.
So we've been out on this tour now for about, what's it been, 5 weeks?
4 weeks.
4.5 weeks, something like that. Got a week left and then we're home, but it's been amazing for us. It's our first U.S. tour on the new record, and it's been incredible. Like the audience have been growing and growing. Like since the last time we were here, I think it's been about 3 years since we toured.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Two? Is that right? Yes.
I've got November of 2015.
Yeah, that sounds
Since the
about
last
right.
time we were here.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
It might have been a summer 2016. 16. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
2016.
Yeah. So first tour of the new record, obviously, it seems to be well received so far. We're having a good time. Hopefully you guys will judge. Yeah, any like questions about the record, anything like that? You guys? Yeah.
Question not about the record.
Yeah, bring it.
So normally springtime planting season,
Ha.
you two have a bit of a lot of
We sure
Are you
do.
guys like having fruits this year? Or
Hell no.
No.
No, absolutely not. The only problem with being away on tour is that like your garden gets really overgrown while you're away. You can't water your plants and that sort of stuff. I don't know. For those of you who don't know what the heck I'm talking about, Josh and I have an online garden war where we try and grow vegetables bigger than the other.
Very rock and roll.
It's really rock and roll. Yeah.
I'm surprised neither of you guys have like in the middle of the night like snuck out and like either round up, just round up the whole garden.
Just unleashed a cage of raccoons on his.
Actually, that would be smarter if you just dropped a bunch of like just put a rabbit in each. Like,
I had a bad crop last year. This year it's shaping up.
New garden, you gotta season it.
What are you most excited for?
Oh, I'm sorry. What?
What are you most excited for in your garden?
Blueberries. This is so stupid. This is what we do when we get home from tour. This extravagant rock and roll life. We get home and we're like, oh, my blueberries.
I said I wasn't going to talk, but someone's got to stop this.
sorry. Next question.
Wait, yes.
What is each of your favorite songs off of Phantoms? Anybody can answer for Josh. We need to put words in his mouth. That word.
I'll tell you what Josh's favorite songs are. They're usually the ones where he gets to wail on the vocals. So if he's having a good vocal day, then like The Killing Kind would probably be his favorite. On a day like today, that might be his least favorite song. For me personally, I think my favorite one on a new record is maybe Don't Miss Me.
Yeah, that's a fun one to play live. It's got a good groove. I also like The Killing Kind because it's the last thing of the set and it's like very intense, so you just sort of pour it out. And this big rock and roll classic ending, and then you just go backstage. You gave it all.
I kind of like playing I Knew You When lately because it's got a bit of a Latin feel, and I'm not the greatest at Latin feel, so it's taken me a while to help the song to feel good, and I'm at a point where I think it feels okay. So.
Awesome.
Yeah, that one took us a while to get groovy. Yeah.
I noticed it feeling better lately, though. I thought it was me, but it was you.
The reason why it's always tough is because
Every day, like, I keep screwing this up.
Yeah, what else? Anything you guys have always wanted to know about? Yeah.
You guys make me nervous, so I'm like.
Why?
I don't know.
We're just hanging out.
Because you guys are like.
very intimidating people.
Oh.
Okay, so I'm obsessed with Ever After, the whole album, but also the song.
Okay.
And would you guys ever play it on a tour in the future?
Maybe.
Because I went to your last 3 concerts and it's never played. And
Yeah.
I want to hear it live so bad.
The hard part about that is when we have a set, it's, like, we have a limited time. We can't play as long as we want. So we have singles, like over 20 videos that we put out, and we have to play a bunch of those because that's what people want to hear if you don't know the album tracks. And then on the new album, we've got a couple of those that we really want to play. So it starts to get a little weird. I mean, we could come out and do a set with like Masterpiece Theater, 1, 2, 3, Ever After, No Place Like Home, Astoria, End of an Era, and people would be like, wow, that's like 7 songs in 100 minutes. Sweet. But I don't know. It's not never gonna. It might get played again. Sometimes at some summer festivals, we've done things where we take a poll between a couple options and see what fans want to hear. We did it with Masterpiece Theater 1 and Ever.
Yeah, that's right. I like Ever After Last got kind of a special place in my heart because it was the first, when we first started touring in arenas, it was sort of it was the song that we opened the set with every night. And so every time I hear that song, I think of like the first time getting on stage in an arena, and it's sort of a special moment for us because like, as a band, that's sort of where you want to get to. And when we finally hit that point, it was very rewarding. That song was sort of the soundtrack to that.
I've like Googled it live, but I just hear like it's like a remix. And I'm like, it's so loud. Like I just hear
Yeah,
it.
especially if it's a telephone recording or something.
Never say never, right? It's very possible that we'll bring that out at some point. I will.
Gentlemen, row 2.
Kind of on that, on a sick thought. Have you guys ever thought about doing like a 10-year anniversary for your albums?
That's interesting.
So that's kind of on the same.
Yeah, I've seen other bands doing that. I feel like when we don't have anything new, maybe, but at this point we're excited about the new stuff and still inspired to create new music that's changing and is like feels like we're still achieving new levels in what we can accomplish as far as musically and production wise and all that stuff. So I don't know, there may be a time when that happens, but I don't think that's in the near future.
One thing I've seen that's cool is sometimes like a band might pick a city and then they might do like 5 or 6 shows and then they just do like album 1, 2. But you have to like make sure people, like some people might hate your first album. And then if people go to that, they're gonna leave very, very disappointed. So they might want to, I could see maybe doing something like that, but that would be like a one-off kind of thing, like maybe in Toronto or maybe in New York sort of.
Sorry, man, you got a question?
Oh,
back?
just pointing out the next question.
Yeah.
Back. Go ahead, speak up.
Okay. This is my daughter's question, but she wants to know what's your favorite animal.
Oh, well, I have a Labradoodle named Fred, so he's probably my favorite animal.
I have
He's a dog.
a cute little cat named Zoe that I love, and it's very odd. Yesterday, I got a FaceTime showing how somehow she, I don't know how to say this, there was a little round nugget of poop on the door, like a foot off the ground, and I don't know how it happened. We don't know how it happened, but it was definitely hers. And all of a sudden she sprints a lot after she goes to the washroom, and I think maybe she rounded the corner really fast, and I don't know, it's the weirdest thing. Anyway, despite that, she's still a very adorable, loving, cuddly, purring cat.
I guess I love both dogs and cats. For some reason, when I was a kid, I wanted a chinchilla. But I would say either a dog or a cat.
What about your rabbits?
We do. My wife has 3. There's a breed of rabbit called Continentals. They're huge. They're huge. So she has one that's like half, and
You're about the size of a cocker spaniel, or
Legitimately like that. He is like his body's the size of a basketball.
So the garden's rather.
But then they would know it was me, and then I'd be the one. I want one of them to start sabotaging. I ain't getting it.
Who's got questions for Josh specifically?
And then we get to
answer
for him.
And make up lines.
And we could make this really fun.
Yeah, bring it.
Yes, no,
What do you got for us?
Okay, so musicality-wise, Josh, as this is 13 years, Fix Me was my first album, and September 6th.
Ours too.
Right? Oh my goodness! September is probably the song for me that truly launched my interest in Marianas Trench. Musicality-wise, though, as you grow as an artist, all of you involved, you find new rhythms, you find yourself expressing things in different manners. Do you ever think of going back and listening to that and being re-inspired, or would you just simply look to the past as that's the past and keep moving forward?
The problem with that kind of genre of music is it's very dated and it's dead right now. We loved it. We're super proud of that album. We had a ton of fun playing it, but legitimately it'd be very, very hard to have a career. Like, so if we went back to that music, the shows would probably bring out about 25% of the people. For real.
Yeah.
Even though, like, I'm not saying it's great that you like it, but if the crowds would really diminish, we probably wouldn't be able to have a good touring career. So
We got old, it's fine.
it's possible if that music came back around.
It's also, well, the thing about that kind of music is it's simpler, and it limits the amount of creativity we can put into the recordings, and how do you fit strings, and how do you fit the new instruments, and all those things that we want to do, because we want to try new things and grow, and what can we accomplish rather than what can we repeat, you know? So there you go. I'll stop right there.
That being said, though, if music sort of went in a direction where all of a sudden, like when you were listening to the radio, you were hearing bands that sounded like AC/DC all the time, then we would probably totally do that. It would be super fun.
AC/DC is the exception.
Yeah, that's the exception to all. Yeah.
So when your video series sort of had enough to by now, those were amazing. That story that you told through them. So I have two questions. The first one is, if you remember, what was the key representing for all those videos? And the second question is, would you ever do that again?
I can't remember the key, but it was fun doing all that. It was neat to have a continuity in the video stuff from the beginning to the end. I'm not sure if we would do it again, because you want to do something different. Although, I mean, I guess if the right album theme presented itself as anything's possibility. It's also fun because we could, like, by the time we did the By Now video, it was really felt like we were making a short film. We were in Vegas for a week doing all this stuff on these sort of grill style shoot. It was very fun doing all that stuff. So I'm actually not opposed to it. I don't know, I think there was a very specific type of album to facilitate that kind of video content. I think the key?
I don't know. Spit it out, Randy.
The key was the reference from the little fairy tale that I wrote inside the album.
I knew that. Yeah.
So I've recently taken an interest in singing, and this is kind of more professional. So is there any advice, like how did you start singing? How did you get good? You know, were you always good?
Josh, so he grew up in a very musical family. His mom was an incredible singer, as was his dad and sisters as well. We all actually took vocal lessons from Josh's mom, particularly when we first started, because we were not generally very strong singers. Josh and I were in high school choir together, but still, I mean, there's lots to learn. And Josh's mom was a fantastic vocal coach, and so we used to go sit in his living room, both as a group and individually, and just do lessons with his mom. High school choir also, great way to learn and sing in the shower.
Good to maybe find a vocal coach who's open-minded and well-rounded, and maybe if there's specific singers that you like, you know, get him or her to help you to emulate them, to push your own boundaries, to just improve your range, improve the way you can sing. You know, if you want to be rockier and screamier, but you can help get that, and also help, you know, with your more like sophisticated type stuff. And a lot warming up and cooling down. Like Josh spends all day warming up. That's a huge thing, right? Like to just slowly warm up all day and
It's
make
actually-
sure your voice is ready to, when the concert or time performance comes around, that you're actually ready to do it. And if you get, you know, if you're in a band, to be able to do that day after day after day, it's a bit of a war of attrition, right? So that's a huge thing to learn how to do.
One thing,
Same for the
diaphragm. So obviously Josh on the weather, but one thing that happens on tour is you sort of get conditioned where you're waking up later in the day, and we don't actually have to do any performing generally until the evening. So it's really difficult to get up and do like a morning performance, a morning sing or something like that, because you need to spend all day getting your voice ready. And it sounds like a lame excuse, but it's true. Like you can't, you know, if you get up first thing in the morning and try belting out, you know, some crazy song, like, it's just not going to happen, and you're going to hurt yourself, and you're going to do damage to your vocals, right? So it's important to warm up properly throughout the day, just as you would if you were, you know, going to run a race or anything. It's just a muscle, right? So,
Even on the same note is not only the warming up, but like when every single day you sort of train yourself when you're on tour anyway, like it's at 9 o'clock your set and your body's ready to peak right then for the singing and your entertaining stuff, and the rest of the day is kind of like a mid energy level thing, so you're just warming up and trying to get ready for the show all day long, and I find that it's hard to try to peak twice in a day too, because you don't want to do something and then be crappy.
Our tour manager right now, he's actually Shawn Mendes' front of house, so he does sound for Shawn Mendes, and he says when on days off he goes to bed at 7 o'clock. So like if he's got to do something that like 7 p.m. is like my 3-year-old goes to bed. So like it's a hard job, what a lot of musicians have to do. So just try and look after yourself and learn how to warm up and cool down as best you can.
Yeah.
What song or series of lyrics are you most proud of?
I think it's cool and it's very simple, but maybe a lot of people didn't notice it. I really like the line, "Everything happens in threes," from Astoria, because it changes, like it modulates 3 times, it's 3 parts, right? And it goes to 3/4 time, and the pattern he sings happens 3 times.
And 3-part harmony.
Yes, so like, when I heard that, I was like, why is he doing that? And I just stopped and thought about it, and I was like, oh yeah, and I was like, that's
Really clever.
for me, it's a simple thing, but I thought that was really, really clever.
Yeah.
So you hear a lot of artists like write songs and they get inspiration, write songs, and then they seem like they just kind of throw them all together in an album. You guys' albums tell a story. I don't know if that's intentional or not. I assume it is. You know, a story. I think you guys keep rolling and changing the tune. I love it. But is that what you do? Do you sit down and kind of write from start to finish, or do you have it? You know what I mean? Or you always constantly writing songs and then you kind of piecing it together into a story? Or
With our first album, it was a collection of songs from a number of years, and then we picked the ones we thought were the strongest, and that was it. That was the album. And the second one, we started to go in with a bit of a theme or a goal of a setting for the album. That one was like musical theater, and that's why there's like a part 1, 2, 3, and then it starts to feel like that, and we realized that worked for us. So then the albums from that point on really have started with a setting and a feel and a theme, so the songs will all fit together and feel like they belong on one piece collection of music rather than they could be from any one of our albums. Something a fan said a couple weeks ago was that each Marianas Trench album is an era, and I thought that was a neat way of putting it, because as you're saying, it sounds like it belongs together, and I actually think that's one of our coolest accomplishments.
Sometimes it takes a while to come up with like the concept of what the album is, but I think once the concept is there, it's actually quite freeing, because it gives you almost like permission to just sort of change. Like it's almost like an actor choosing a different role. You know, it gives you like, if you choose, you know, Denzel Washington or whatever, he's got like a lot of different characters he plays. It gives them a different outlet of creativity. So I think actually having a theme is more freeing, if that makes sense.
Awesome. You guys had some amazing questions. I've got some dumb questions. So, you guys from Canada. We've got a little bit of Canada flavor on Line 99.5. Our female voice artist who does all the imaging between the songs is from the Vancouver area.
Oh, nice.
And she's taking time off in July. Why don't you explain to me why July 1st is so special? Tell me about Canada Day.
It's Canada Day, man.
It was the day of Confederation, 1867, I think.
Wow.
It was when Canada became a country.
Fantastic. So if we're planning a trip to Canada, give me some Canada-dos and some Canada-don'ts.
Well, if you're coming to Vancouver, the next thing, Vancouver and Salt Lake are very similar because there are giant mountains all over the place. And actually being here really reminded me of home. I was getting a little nostalgia when I was walking around this morning. But I mean, if you're coming to Vancouver, it's where we all live. It's a beautiful city. The ocean's right there. You can snowboard and go to the beach in the same day. So it's pretty cool. I don't know.
I think that
To the ocean, it's a coastal city, so there's a really beautiful thing called the sea wall that's about 10 or 15K long, and there's a big park called
Miles.
Yeah, about 10 miles.
And there's a beautiful park called Stanley Park, so I guess if you're visiting Vancouver, that would be one of the things I would recommend people do.
The don't would be, if you're coming to Vancouver only once, I wouldn't come October, November, December, January, February, March, because it can be nice, but it can also be very rainy and it bunches. Come in the summertime when you get the really late sunsets and warm weather and all that stuff. And it's not that cold in Vancouver. It's more like Seattle, but it's just rainy a lot in the winter. You don't want to get that if you can get the full experience.
Pretty much.
It's expensive, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Also, living there is
Vancouver's
really
expensive.
high.
Yeah, but American dollars are worth like 8 times Canadian dollars. So these guys, you really get a good value out of your vacation.
Not 8 times, it's about 1.3.
1.27 or something.
We'll look at the exchange rate.
A $5 American gets you about $1.30, $1.40 Canadian.
Fantastic. Any last questions?
Josh, why the blonde hair for so long? Dear God. I just wanted to see the response.
He's really happy that he doesn't have to answer his question right now.
I think Josh would rather people more interested in the music.
In his pants.
Than his hair.
Yeah.
So I've noticed you guys, I kind of associate your albums with chapters almost, because it's like a book, like all of your albums. So what gives you the inspiration for the next one, and what draws attention from the other one to connect to the next one?
The inspiration is just going to strike randomly. I mean, the theme for this record came from being on tour and going to New Orleans and seeing the really cool voodoo culture there and just being inspired by it. And it just struck randomly. It wasn't something we were searching for. And we don't have anything picked out for the next step, but it'll come for sure. And sorry, what was the second part of that question?
Yeah, I think she was saying like how sometimes the albums are linked, like maybe lyrically. Pull another.
Sometimes you'll find that some of the melodies or lyrics will still work, especially in those open freeform sort of songs. Cool thing about that is that it does connect the entire body of work, while each one can still feel like its own piece. It's a pretty neat idea that the whole thing sort of is strung together with this little thread.
I'm sure there will be connections on the next album with previous albums.
I think it's a goal of Josh's, I know, so that when Marianas Trench is done, whenever that may be, years down the road, the whole body of work kind of ties into itself. It's just sort of this. I don't know how to explain it exactly, but I think like it would just be neat if it was all sort of connected, and you could kind of listen to it from front to back, and it'd be this magical journey like the one that we've been on.
One last question, right here in the back.
Are you guys going to play Cross My Heart or Celebrity Status tonight?
Yep.
Yes.
Interesting couple of songs.
You can guarantee we'll play those.
You will understand why when you come to the show.
Well, before you guys go, we've got a prize box with some names in it for tickets to tonight's
amazing.
show.
I
The
love
lovely
prizes.
Candida will
What can I win?
tickets to the Marianas Trench show at the Depot tonight.
Nice venue, actually.
Yeah.
Alright, our first winner.
Megan Higher.
Megan.
Megan.
Congratulations.
Megan Higher, come on down.
No, actually,
That's more like it.
sit on down.
Winner number 2.
Alec Taylor.
Amazing.
Hold on a second, Danielle Taylor. Are you related? You guys stuck that. It's rigged. I would love it if there's another Taylor.
There is one more.
Samantha Tibbetts.
Samantha.
I think we should.
Congratulations.
That's awesome. We're on, what time are we
At
going?
least they're different handwriting for
Yeah.
Alec Taylor and Danielle.
Doors
So I can
yeah,
tell
door-
you didn't.
The doors are 7.
Yeah, there's DJ on, DJ George Towns, he's awesome. Then Scott Hellman, he's awesome. And then us, we're okay.
Yeah, we're
9 of 5.
9. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. One more big round of applause. Marianas Trench.
Thank you guys. And thank you for being so accommodating too. We appreciate it. Sorry I couldn't give you a little performance today, but hopefully you guys will see it tonight. You will see it tonight.
Thanks for getting.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm glad everybody got something.